Hi, Kelly Grace, used to be Kelly Shepherd, now I'm married. Kelly Grace, I'm coming to you from Breathe Easy Wheezy channel on YouTube. And today I thought we would talk about another very important breathing technique. For any of you that have breathing problems, any kind of lung disease, you're feeling short of breath with activity, then feel free to watch this video. It will be very informative to you. The other thing I would highly recommend is if in the search bar of YouTube you put Breathe Easy Wheezy channel, you can also go and look at my lung anatomy and physiology video. Sounds fancy, but basically it'll tell you how the system works, okay? Which is a good foundation. And my videos, there's education on top of education. So if you don't understand a video, go look at a prior video. Lung anatomy is the foundation. And then there's pursed lip breathing. There's a whole video on that. I believe pursed lip breathing in the nose. I don't know. But there, look at the pursed lip breathing, the anatomy and physiology. And then this one I would say would come next. Didn't make them in that order. I know. I'm a little out of order. But anyway, let's get right to it. So diaphragmatic breathing is a style of breathing that a lot of people use when they have shortness of breath. A lot of elite athletes, I'm talking like Olympian level athletes, use this style of breathing because the bigger volumes of air they can get into their lungs, the more oxygen they get in. And oxygen is a performance enhancing drug. We don't typically think of oxygen as a drug, but it is. If you were to want some oxygen, you would need a doctor's prescription. Otherwise, I think there are places that are oxygen bars and they give like super low level, like maybe 1 or 2% more than what we're just breathing here at atmospheric room air. Anyway, so oxygen is a performance enhancing drug. Oxygen is the fuel for your muscles. So it's one of them. Oxygen plus glucose, that's just a fancy word for sugar. Oxygen plus glucose equal fuel for your muscles. So both of those are really important. Obviously, glucose we get from the foods that we eat. Oxygen from the air we breathe. Some people with lung disease, you'll notice them wearing a plastic nasal cannula. They are on supplemental oxygen because they just can't get enough into their body. And certainly, people that have had COVID, there are some of them that required oxygen therapy. And even though they may have recovered enough to leave the hospital, they still need oxygen therapy. So if you're in that camp, this is a good video for you to watch as well. So let's get back down to it. Pursed lip breathing, described it in a previous video, just going to touch on it for a minute. It revolves around the principle of pressure, okay? Pressure to splint the airways open, and pressure is a game changer. Pressure will also move oxygen from your lungs into the bloodstream. Pressure, right? Pressure, just pushing it along. So this what we're talking about today, diaphragmatic breathing, that's a long word. If you want to call it belly breathing, I'm cool with that. Diaphragmatic breathing is a style of breathing that enables us to get bigger volumes. The bigger the volume we get into our lungs, the more oxygen we can get from our lungs into our bloodstream. That's good stuff right there, especially if we're having a hard time getting oxygen in. So, and certainly the magic really happens when you add pursed lip breathing with diaphragmatic breathing, okay? And that's the long goal, especially for my people with any kind of obstructive lung disease, COPD, cystic fibrosis, COPD, it's a classification, cystic fibrosis, asthma, bronchitis, bronchiectasis, emphysema, okay? Those are my obstructive lung diseases, and people with restrictive lung disease too, like pulmonary fibrosis, interstitial lung disease, IPF, those kinds of things. We're looking at combining those two, pursed lip breathing and diaphragmatic breathing. That's our long-term goal, okay? Right now, in the beginning, when you're learning, I want you to get really good at pursed lip breathing. We're going to do that every time we're in motion. And I want you to get really good at diaphragmatic breathing. And when you're really good at both, then let's put them together. Okay? So here we go. Diaphragmatic breathing. What are we doing? So it's going to look like this. When you're diaphragmatic breathing, you're going to breathe in and the air, your belly should come out. And then you're going to exhale. And when you do that, you're literally tightening all of those abdominal muscles. And when you pull them in, they're really large muscles. So you pull them in, and what it does is it forces this beautiful dome-shaped diaphragm right here up. And when it pushes up, it gets rid of more volume. And when I breathe in, and y'all see my belly come out, what I'm doing is I'm pulling that diaphragm down into my abdominal cavity. And when you pull it down, it literally pulls your lungs open from the bottom. What? Yes, this is good stuff. This is really good stuff. So diaphragmatic breathing, bigger volumes in, bigger volumes out. The more air you get in, the more oxygen you're going to get into your bloodstream. The more air you get out, the more waste gas, the more carbon dioxide you're going to be able to get rid of. And as those muscles consume the oxygen and the glucose, and they metabolize it or they use it, there is a waste product. Hey, you're not in the video. Sorry, that's my wiener dog. And he lives up to his name. Yes, he's a wiener. Anyway, so moving along, we want to get oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. Having enough oxygen in will allow us to not feel so short of breath, and getting rid of enough carbon dioxide will allow us to not feel so short of breath. We need both of those gases balanced for us to feel good or to not be symptomatic, to not feel short of breath. That's what us medical people say. We call it shortness of breath. Personally, for me, I have lung disease. When I feel short of breath, to me, it feels like I'm suffocating. So you will hear me use those terms interchangeably, shortness of breath and suffocation. Okay, obviously, like we're not trying to suffocate anybody here, okay? But when I can't breathe, that's what it feels like to me. It feels like I'm suffocating. And I think it's really sweet that all those medical people just call it shortness of breath. Yeah, I'm making fun of them. So anyway, those are the people who have not experienced gasping for air the way somebody with lung disease has. And it is truly awful. It's a horrible experience. So let's go back to diaphragmatic breathing. I want to show you this, okay? I know, I'm showing you my belly. Be a good steward of that, all right? No body shaming here. Okay, here we go. Breathe in, belly out. Exhale, belly in. Inhale, out. Exhale, in. Okay, as you guys can see, I have pretty dramatic diaphragmatic excursion or movement, okay? That happens because I have practices every single day, several times a day, for about 20 years. It's a good long time. It's a little longer than 20 years. So keep in mind, this guy, your diaphragm, he's a muscle. This guy does about 80% of the work of breathing. That's huge. That's big. We can make your breathing better as long as we train and make stronger the right muscles that work your breathing. So the crappy part is you're gonna have to do some work, okay? You're going to have to work that muscle. And it's not just your diaphragm, it's all of those abdominal muscles too. So you will get stronger abs as you go along, okay? That's a good thing. It's like doing sit-ups without having to do the sit-ups. Your abdominal muscles will get stronger. And these muscles are very efficient at helping you breathe, at getting the volume in and out. Most people that have lung disease and have had it for years, they do chest breathing, which looks like this. They get short of breath and they And that's what they revert to. In between your ribs, you have about 200 intercostal muscles. Fancy word, intercostal. Those mean the little small ineffective muscles in between your ribs. So they're obviously there for a purpose, but they're not as effective as your abs and your diaphragm at helping you breathe. When you do chest breathing, a great majority of the oxygen that you take in goes to those muscles. We don't want it to go to those muscles. If you're walking across the room to get a glass of water or to get to the toilet or to get out to your car, you need the majority of the oxygen to go to your legs because those are the muscles that are carrying your body weight. We don't need them to go up here. So this is really important. Getting every bit of efficiency out of your body, out of your breathing, will help you in the long run. And that's what we're going for. We're not going for the miracle cure. I know everybody wants that, including me. I wanted that. I wanted to go to the doctor and I wanted to say, here, Kelly, here's new lungs. You're good. Or even better, I wanted him to say, here, Kelly, here's an inhaler or a pill. You just take it and you're just going to grow brand new lungs and everything's going to be better when you wake up in the morning. Didn't work out for me. What did end up working out for me was a lot of hard work. Really applying everything that I learned as I was teaching pulmonary rehabilitation to my patients. And I've been lucky enough to be able to do that job for over 20 years. And what I've learned is that as I'm teaching this stuff, I should probably be doing it myself since I have lung disease. And so I've gotten better and better and better and better at applying these skills to myself. And what I've noticed is it wasn't a miracle cure. It didn't happen overnight. But what happened was over time with me applying these principles that I'm teaching you guys, what happened was my breathing got better and better and better and better and better. And what I also notice is as I clean up one little area, oh, there's a mess over here. And then I got to work on that. And then I get that cleaned up and gosh, I kind of neglected this and some dust has settled over here. And I got to go back and I got to work on that. So as we go along, be easy with yourself. Go easy on yourself. The point is not to become the master today or tomorrow or next week. The point is just to get better and stronger with these skills. All right, adding stress on you, that's gonna hurt your cause. That's not helpful. I know, because I've done it to myself for enough years. And really, the softer I am with myself, the easier things go. So I encourage you guys, learn from my mistakes, go easy on yourself, just keep practicing this. So I'm gonna give you some different scenarios for you to practice diaphragmatic breathing. One is while you're standing up. A lot of people find it helpful to put one hand on their belly and one hand on their chest. This hand should hardly move, okay? It should be pretty doggone still. And this hand down here should be doing a whole lot of moving. Okay? Not where you're moving both of them, okay? And I'm kind of exaggerating just to make it easier for you guys to see. So I would love for you to do 10 breaths every day while standing up and at least 10 breaths in front of a mirror. And instead of, looking straight at that mirror, do what I'm doing with you guys, go sideways so you can see the movement. Is it up here or is it here? It needs to be here. And if you've got movement up here, that's okay in the beginning. Just recognize it and try to really isolate that diaphragm, okay? So 10 breaths standing up, 10 breaths in front of a mirror, 10 breaths while you're sitting down. Sit in a chair. We do that every day. Sit in a chair. Sit in a chair. And again, one here, one here. See if you can get it going. And then I want you to do two things at once. What? Yes. Yes, this is going to help us long term. So 2 things at once. So if you're watching TV and a commercial comes on, I want you to be like, man, that respiratory therapist, that Kelly, she asked me to do diaphragmatic breathing. Go ahead and pop into it. Who cares about the commercials anyway? Unless it's Super Bowl Sunday. And then we all care about the commercials. Okay, so see if you can get it going. And after you get it going, see if you can bring your attention back to the TV while doing this. Because eventually you will need to do 2 things at once or more. I know. I'm a woman. I want it all. So eventually, you know, you're going to breathe better if you're able to do pursed lip breathing with diaphragmatic breathing while you're in motion. So maybe you're carrying the groceries in from the house and you're able to do all of that together. That's our end game. That's not our goal today, okay? Our goal today is to master diaphragmatic breathing, and to get there however long it takes you. It took me 6 months of doing it 4 times a day, every single day for 6 months before I could just do it without having to think about it. I could do it before then, but I had to think, okay, wait a minute. Breathe in, belly out. Exhale, belly in. I really had to stop and kind of get it going. Nowadays, and one day it was just like a switch. I was able to just, and then once I did that, then I started adding the pursed lip breathing. And boy, once I had those 2 things, man, breathing got so much better, so much better. So this video is running kind of on the longer side. So we talked about 10 breaths while you're watching TV. You could also do 10 breaths while you're reading the paper or a book or something. Get it going, bring your attention back. So while watching TV or reading, while sitting down, while standing up in front of a mirror. And the last scenario is when you're laying down. So when you lay down to go to bed, and I don't care if you have like a wedge or you elevate your head up, but just as you're falling asleep, try to do 10 breaths. If it irritates you, stop. Okay. The whole point of this is not to irritate you. It does take coordination. This style of breathing does not come super simple. This is trickier. Pursed lip breathing, you guys, I teach you guys that, and then the next day you're masters. Not so much with diaphragmatic breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing needs a little bit of training. So some of you guys who are wind instrument players or you're professional singers, you guys already know how to do this. And professional singers, they do it so they can get out the long notes. Wind instrument players, so they can blow their horn or their flute or whatever instrument, harmonica, whatever they're playing, oboe. I'm not a musician, but they're able to play better longer. So this really does work. This is a game changer. I have found, in particular, pursed lip breathing is wonderful. Most people rave about pursed lip breathing to me, and pursed lip breathing is wonderful. I have personally found once I mastered diaphragmatic breathing, and most people, it's harder. And so the hard things we kind of give up on. I couldn't give up on it. It was my job. My job was to teach diaphragmatic breathing to people with lung disease. So I couldn't give up on it. I had to get good at it. I had to keep doing it. And so I did. And like I said, it took me 6 months. Now, with that said, I'm not the most coordinated human on the planet. Okay. So the good news is you guys probably have more coordination than me. Probably get it quicker than me. The hard stuff or the harder stuff, we as humans tend to give up. Don't give up, because I have to tell you from my personal testimony, my personal experience, this style of breathing is a game changer. All of a sudden I could get up to the next flight of stairs without feeling winded. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I'm a little human. I'm only 5'2". And so when I was pregnant with my daughter, please don't mind my outfit. My pants don't match. I'd like to tell you guys I'm great with fashion, but the reality is I'm really not. So I don't know what I was thinking today. I think I was thinking comfort. Anyway, don't mind that. I know I don't match, okay? I know I don't match. So please don't tell me about it in the comments below. Anyway, I was gigantically pregnant with my daughter, and I went to church with my mother, and you know, my mom and all her church friends, they like to sing hymns. And as a little girl, that was my favorite part of church. And so we would sing, 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 and then you all take a breath in, and then you sing, 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 you get out the next verse. Well, when I was pregnant, my daughter was creating a restriction. She was pushing up on my lungs, so I couldn't get the volume in that I had always been able to do pre-pregnancy. And what I noticed was I would sing, 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 and run out of air. And everybody else still singing along. And I'm like, I'm out. I'm out of the game. Probably made them happy because I cannot carry a tune to save my life. Anyway, I thought about it, and at this point I was teaching pulmonary rehab, and I thought, well, why not use diaphragmatic breathing? It's what you teach your patients. Just try it, Kelly. And so I did. I took my big breath in, and then I sang, 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 and it was immediate gratification. And I don't know about you, but I am a huge fan of immediate gratification. Now, with this said, I had been teaching pulmonary rehab for a year, so I had gotten to the point where I didn't have to think about diaphragmatic breathing anymore, other than, hey, I need to apply it now. And I have to tell you, 20 years later, and it came before 20 years later, some point along the journey, I don't have to think about it anymore. If I'm doing something that's really exertional, I immediately fall on my diaphragmatic breathing, or both of them, my diaphragmatic and my pursed lip breathing. All right, good luck with this. Here's my disclaimer. I am a registered respiratory therapist and a certified asthma educator. I am not your registered respiratory therapist or your certified asthma educator. If you have a hiatal hernia, this may irritate it. All right? You have been warned. If any of the things I teach in any of my videos bother you, irritate you, create pain or discomfort, don't do it. Please use common sense. If something creates pain or discomfort, don't do it. All right. Stay tuned. My next video will be about BS. Yeah, that's right. Breath sequencing. This will be the last breathing technique that I will teach you. And I have to tell you, when you put pursed lip breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, and your BS, your breath sequencing all together, woohoo, got some good stuff there. All right, stay tuned. I got more videos coming your way. Have a great day and breathe easy, Wheezy.